Nobody has enough time to write. Stephen King doesn't have enough time to write. There's not a writer who will tell you he has enough time to write. Yet, supposing you went to bed an hour later every night, that would liberate 2 months of writing time. I'm talking about not around the clock, but just a 40-hour, 5-day week. You would get, if you had another 365 hours available, which is what you'd have if you went to sleep an hour later every night, that would give you 2 months to write in the year that you haven't used yet, in addition to whatever else you're doing. Now, couldn't you get? Maybe you couldn't write a screenplay in 2 months, although maybe you could. Our students here have to in 10 weeks, but you could certainly write a big chunk of it. Well, supposing you say, well, I already go to bed too late. I can't go to bed an hour later. Well, what about go to bed 15 minutes later? Get up 15 minutes earlier. Couldn't you manage that? That would, if you could do that over a year, that would give you a month of writing time. So you do have the time. The problem is you don't have the will.
Okay, very interesting point. So he mentioned that if you really want to write, no matter the circumstances, if you have job, if you have kids, no matter what, regardless, you can always find time because no writer ever has enough time. So what he mentioned was going to sleep, basically going to sleep earlier or waking up later. Wait, no, no, no. Am I saying it right? No, you go to bed later or you wake up earlier just to give yourself extra time to write. The first thing that pop into my head is like energy levels. Like I know our energy levels like fluctuate in a day, and I think I've discussed this before where there's certain times where it's optimal for us, where our creative brain is like optimized and we can actually think creatively, and then there's other parts in the day where it's just we can't think at all. Our brain is just not there. So I'm just thinking of how writers could find time to write, especially if they're super busy with other responsibilities. Because I understand, like, if there's a will, there's a way. If you need to write and you feel like it's your duty, let's say, to write this story, then you're gonna find the time some way, somehow, regardless of how you feel. But I'm also trying to think about like the optimization. Not really much of the optimization, but just give yourself the best chance you can in order to write your story, because writing every day when you're sluggish and you just took care of everything else is like, I think most times you're probably going to be staring at the screen and less of like thinking of ideas or like maybe even thinking about your responsibilities of the next day, because it's just another thing to think about too is I believe that to think creatively requires your brain to be clear as well. It requires clarity in your mind in order to think creatively. And with the clarity, I think that what allows people to enter a creative flow, and that's how they're able to write stories faster. So, with other responsibilities and random thoughts like entering your mind that stresses you out, I could see where it's just tough, like being a writer is extremely tough. But all that to say is I my best advice, really, my best advice is a concept I like to call like active and passive thinking. So it's like where you spend only like 5 minutes maybe, just no distractions. If you could spend longer, then heck, spend a longer time. But at least like like a few minutes of no distractions, nothing else in your brain other than your story. And then you think about ideas, you come up with whatever you can in those few minutes. And then, and I would like to say, do this before your other activities or your other responsibilities, because so that throughout the day, you could passively in your mind think about where you're left off in your story as the day move forward. That's kind of what's been helping me. Like usually what I do is sometimes is like I at the end of my writing session I'll write down questions that I'm currently stuck at or thinking about. Like maybe I'm stuck at a certain scene or I might need to expand the character a little bit more. So I write down questions of like what possibly needs to be answered to order to come up with the solution for the scene. But yeah, that's something I like to do is like think about actively how to move the story forward, and then once that timer is up, you gotta take care of other priorities. Then you in your mind for the rest of the day, you just like those like little in between moments with responsibilities. You just think about like, yeah, like I had this question earlier from my story. What possible solutions maybe or what ideas can I come up with in the meantime? I think it also helps as well is like since you already had some time of active thinking is like now when you're doing other stuff is already you already planted seeds of creativity in your mind, so it's a lot easier to come up with new stuff during the day than to I guess take care of those stuff and then at the end of the day try to write. But it all depends. It's just my way of doing things and figuring things out as I'm getting busier and busier with life. But you let me know if you have a method. But that's just some thoughts I have. Maybe his method works for you. But yeah, I also made a video a while back, maybe it was a month or two ago, about a client of mine who was finding time to write while balancing a full-time job, being a parent, being a wife, and also like starting like a side business as well. So, if you want to check out, because I did mention some other tips and tricks over in that side, and what I believe she did to, find time to write, and I think I was probably one of the methods that she was using to find time to write. But yeah, I'll leave that link somewhere as well, just so you can check out that video. It's more like a story time type of style, but it also leaving some gems as well of what we did to make sure that the draft was finished and we would go through the whole process as well. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope this advice helped you in any type of way, but whether it's his advice or my advice. Yeah, last thing before you go, you go click the link down below if you want to schedule a consultation call with me. If you're stuck on the outline and you feel like you need some assistance or you need feedback when it comes to your outline, I could give suggestions. It's actually one of the ways that one of my clients who was doing all these responsibilities was able to find time was literally like having me as accountability partner as well as kind of keeping her on track on what to prioritize when it comes to the draft. So, but for now, I just want to focus on like helping people with their outlines. So that's why I'm just suggesting like doing consultation calls. Like if you need help with your outline, need feedback, need ideas, anything when it comes to completing your outline and that process as well. So yeah, I appreciate you for watching the video, and you could click on the video, which is going to be here or there, and it's going to be explaining my consultation calls and how I operate, things like that. So yeah, hope you have a great rest of your day.